Hey guys, I am going to go over both lesson plan 1 and lesson plan 2 and kind of show us a little quick tutorial on the tech tool that I used in both of them. So as you can see, I teach kindergarten and I chose math for both lesson plan 1 and lesson plan 2. I'm going to start just by going over the technology standard that I used in both lessons and why I chose those. So the first lesson over here, I talked about the students being able to demonstrate the ability to choose and to troubleshoot. I work with 5 and 6-year-olds, so as you can imagine, technology, while they do play a lot of games and stuff on devices at home, they are not used to educational tools and how to troubleshoot those. So there is a lot of groundwork that has to go into just explaining what they are to do, what they're supposed to click, what they're not supposed to click, before I'm able to effectively implement these lessons. And the second standard that is shown here is that they also will be creating visuals and models to explain their learning. And that is where the seesaw activity comes into play. For my second lesson, I chose that the students will be using technology to seek feedback that informs and improves their practice. And so the cool thing about Seesaw, and I'll show you in a second, is that you as the teacher are able to comment back to the activities that are submitted. And I'll go over that in just a second. But I felt like those standards were applicable to my lessons. So these lessons are attached to this assignment, so feel free to go over them in detail. But now I'm going to shift over to Seesaw to show you how these activities are assigned. And so as you can see in my lessons, I use Seesaw as just an activity for kids to do during their center rotations. And you'll notice that I myself have a group, my assistant has a group. So the goal is to allow students to be independently working on these activities in Seesaw. So again, that's where the groundwork comes into play and is super important. So to assign an activity in Seesaw, this is the teacher interface. Normally you would see my class here, but currently I do not have one because it is summer. So to assign an activity, I click on Activities, I click on Add, and Assign Activity. And the cool thing about Seesaw is not only do you have the ability to create your own activity, but there's also a community of lessons that you can also access. So feel free to explore different lessons. And I'm sorry, I have a thing going off. Sorry, I'm back. So in my library currently, I already have the graphing activity that is addressed in my first lesson. And so all I have to do is click Assign, and that is the class I would like to assign it to. And if I go back to my class, on their Activities tab, they will now see the graphing activity that I assigned. All they have to do is add a response, and this is what it will look like for them once they complete this activity. They simply click the check mark, and then that activity is sent to me, and I can assess them. I can just see where they're at. And I also, like I said, can offer comments back. So this is a great way for immediate feedback. I also can send this to their parents. And so there's just a network and a support system for these students, and it's fun. They love working with their iPads. So in the same way that I assign the graphing activity, I also can assign the tracing activity, and here it is that is mentioned in my second lesson. So I love Seesaw. I love how easy it is to add activities. My biggest reflection, just based off the past 2 years of teaching, is that kindergartners are very, very new to just navigating through technology tools. So it takes patience and just great explanation and reminders so that they can become confident using the technology in your classroom. So this year, my plan and goal is to effectively start the year off just implementing Seesaw activities together in whole group, so that when I do start assigning these activities for independent centers, the students do not have to constantly come up to me and ask questions, but they are able to independently work on that activity successfully and feel good about it. So thank you for listening. Like I said, I've attached everything here in this assignment, so check it out. Thanks.